Why don't we go ahead and get started? So what we're going to do, since we've got basically 25 minutes, I want to just have us practice 2 really pretty quick assessment, kind of formative assessment techniques. And you can use these in lots of different situations. So the first one that we're going to try is this one called Muddy Marvy. Have you heard of it or have you used it?
I think I've heard of it, but
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, so this one you can use either at the beginning of a class or the end of a class or the end of a unit. But what you do, and I'm just going to do it with both of you, and we're going to practice right now so then you can experience it. But what we're going to do is you think of a question that might pertain to a particular unit or something that's going on in your class, and you say, before you leave today, I need you to write down 2 questions that you still have and a comment that you still have. So what I'm going to ask you is something, because I want to collect some assessment data about how we're doing with in-service. So my question would be, what are some questions or what are some things that with this new schedule of in-service that you have found helpful? And what are some things that you're still confused about that we could maybe develop a class or something about? So it's like, what are we trying to do with in-service that's being helpful? And write that on the yellow card. And what are some things that you're still confused about at the beginning of the semester that we could improve for you? And that's the muddy part. So we got the Marvy, so what's pretty clear, what's working on the yellow card, and then on the pink card, what we could still do to help you out.
I need to spend more than $9 on a tripod.
Yeah.
It goes, so you hear that as we move.
So what you would do as you're finishing this up, you can kind of tell that it doesn't really take all that much time. And then when you have about, I don't know how many students you usually have in your class, maybe 20 or so, and then you get this collection of information, then you can use either the next day, the next session that you're working on, that you can kind of focus on what your students are excited about, what's working for them, and then what you can make some adjustments real quickly. And it's just a real quick way. You collect these either at the beginning of the class, end of class, and then you just go from there. And what I usually do then is I have everybody kind of move up to the front of the room, and when they're done with their comments, then they can just post them on like what would be muddy, so they can put their muddy here, and then they put their Marvy over here. And then when they're finished writing their comments, post them on the board, and then they can leave. And that's how I would probably either end a class or beginning of class. And then you take them all, and so if you're not, I'll put them up there for you. So so they're kind of like, okay. So then what you do is you've got then a whole bunch of comments, and you don't really know who they're coming from. I kind of know who they're coming from.
But we didn't write anything like that.
You're like, what? And so I know who.
Is that a comment about my handwriting?
No. I just can remember where I picked them from. And so then what you can do at the last part of the class, then you can real quickly go, categorize them, kind of sort through them. What I usually do is I'll start to make just some themes of what's going on. And then, you can either, if you have the classroom, you can either just say, over here, keep this. And then when people come back the next day, then you can say, all right, this is the feedback we've gathered. These are some things that are working for you. These are some things that you're still unclear about, and then use that as a launching point for what's going on the next week. So it's pretty quick. It's kind of anonymous. The students participate in it, and it helps to give you some clarity about what's going on. So that's one technique that's really fast, and like you did it, so it's not all that painful. You just think of some questions that are pertinent to what's happening in class, and then you move on from there. And that's how I usually do that. This other one is a little bit more involved. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So have you ever done this in a online class? Like, how would you do that in an online class? Like a discussion board maybe? Or-
Yes. You could do it in a discussion board, and that would work really well
Okay.
as well. You could also, if you wanted to even set up a quiz where you send it out in a quiz form, what's still working and what's not, or you could do it in a discussion board as well, if the
Okay.
student, and that would work.
Okay.
The quiz works better.
So you create a quiz.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then not everybody can see what everybody else writes.
Yes.
Is that the best thing about that?
And more importantly, it shows up that they've participated or haven't participated.
Oh, yeah, for like extra credit or
And
maybe.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but that would, yeah.
Thank you.
What are both of you teaching?
In a 1 or a 2-day class,
Uh-huh.
could you do it at the start of a break towards the end of the
Yes.
class to see what questions you
Yeah.
still need to answer?
Yep, certainly, you could do it then too, yeah. There's one more thing, this thing called plus delta. And you could do this in an online class as well.
Okay.
And I've done it in a class with 450 students. So what I do is I ask the students either in an online place or in in a face-to-face class to get out a piece of paper. And I'm like, get out a piece of paper, and what I want you to do is I want you to fold it into 4 little boxes. So pretend this is your piece of paper here. And then I say, okay, what I want you to do is, these are the things that are working, so the plus, and these are the things that need to change, your delta. And I think of a question that is pertinent to what we're doing in the class. So this might be something related to orientation. So the first box is what are, let's see, like what is CIE doing to assist you in getting ready for the semester? Okay, so you've got your question, and then what I ask the students to do, I want you to put in this top box here, what are some things that the Center for Instructional Excellence is doing to assist you in preparing for your upcoming semester? What are they not doing? So the things that need to change. But here's where it's different from the Muddy Marby. Then I ask, what are you doing to assist you? So you would ask the students, what are you doing to make sure you're getting ready for this semester, and what can you change to make sure you're getting ready for this semester? So the thing that I really like about this plus delta is it shows the relationship between the instructor, what the instructor can do, and what really I have control over. I have control over this box, but I don't really have control over if, I've asked this with students before, and they're like, well, I really need to stop watching as much TV as I'm watching. And I'm like, I don't really have a whole lot of control over that behavior, except when I tell them, and I do share all the results with them of what the students are saying, what other students are saying. And so I say, okay, so we got a lot of students who are saying they need to change watching so much Netflix. So what are some strategies that we can work on? What are some things that we could share with each other? I'm like, a whole bunch of you in this class, like 60-70% of you are saying that you are not getting ready for the semester because you are watching too much Netflix. So, I use that as a discussion point to go, okay, what do we need to change? How can we impact that behavior that is preventing you from getting ready for the semester. So that is another quick technique that is pretty beneficial. It really helps you to say, well, these are the things that I can have control over, this stuff at the top, but then these are some things at the bottom that really the student needs to focus on. And then I get the students talking with each other as a whole group to say, you know, yeah, here, and one of the things that I like about sharing this also is students identify some strategies that maybe I don't know that are maybe relevant for them, their group, and then they can share it with each other, and it works really well.
Could you give a general education course example?
So, like, what do you mean?
I'm trying to figure out the kinds of questions that would work for this.
Okay, so how about what's something in one of your classes that you're working on?
How do I get students to do?
Do you have your students work on a case study?
Yes.
All right. So I would say, and I would get them ready. You know, and maybe they've already started working on a case study, and I'm like, maybe in a couple weeks the case study is due. So I would ask them, okay, so what are you currently doing to make sure that your case study is completed? And you know, so I would ask that. I'd say, what am I doing as an instructor to assist you in getting ready for your case study? What am I not doing to make sure that you understand how to, you know, put a case study together? What are you doing to make sure that your case study is, you know, will be ready in 2 weeks? And what are you not doing to make sure that you're working on your case study? And so then in that case, you know, students would say, okay, well, you know, the instructor has, you know, broken out the case study into different milestones. I kind of know when the deadlines are, but I don't really know how, in this particular case study, how to break down some of the problems and where to focus my attention. Maybe I'm still confused about, you know, it's a big case study. I don't really know how to break out some of the problems that are in there or what to focus on. And then what they would maybe say is like, well, you know, I put together the first few bits, you know, I've answered some questions in this particular case study, and something that I need to change, maybe it's a group project, for example, you know, I need to make sure that my team is, you know, turning in some things and you know, getting after my team communication isn't functioning all that well, and so I need to, you know, work with my team, or whatever it might be. And then, you know, you're gathering some quick, really focused data about things that you can, you know, have control over and what you can change. I mean, there's certain things in the classroom, like I would never ask students like, well, is this class, so in some of my classes, the one that I use this, I'm like, I would never ask like, well, is this class to, you know, what am I doing as an instructor that is making you feel, you know, I don't know, anxiety? I'm like, that I would never ask a question like that, or I would never ask like, how does this class, is it helping you get your, you know, your major or whatever? I'm like, I only ask questions that I can actually control and have, you know, an influence over. I would never ask the students like, does it bother you that I wear hats? I'm like, I don't care. Like, yeah, I'm gonna wear hats, and that's your problem, and I'm not gonna change that. And so, I mean, there's certain things you want to focus your questions definitely on what you can change. I'm like, maybe in your particular program, you can't change that. You're going to need to focus on, like, you're in a biology class, and you wouldn't ask the students, well, does it impact your learning if we look at cadavers? I'm like, well, that's something that you don't have any kind of control over. You wouldn't ask that question. I mean, students can talk with you about that outside of class to say, well, I I don't really like to touch or look at the dead body. And you're like, well, you're probably in the wrong major. But I don't ask questions that I can't really
Could
change.
you ask like what am I doing as an instructor to help you learn, or something like that? Like
You could, if then you're prepared to, listen to what those answers are, and you're prepared to then help them with those questions. So like, if you say, what am I doing to help you learn, or what am I not doing to help you learn, be prepared with a whole lot of stuff that you may or may not have time for. So you want to present them with really focused questions, because they could definitely answer a type of question, what am I doing to help me learn X, Y, or Z? But maybe a more focused question would benefit you and them a little bit more. Because if you say, what's some particular thing that maybe...
Well, I was
suits
thinking
them?
like I teach medical terminology, so I was thinking of saying like, think of what grade do you want to get in this class? Like, what grade do you want to get? Like, ask them that first, and then have them think about, okay, so what am I doing to help you get there?
Yeah.
What could I be doing better? What
Yeah.
It's more of trying to get them to that.
Right.
The delta, the lower right,
Yeah.
like acknowledging.
Right.
Oh, well, I haven't been studying. I haven't
Right.
been doing any of my homework.
Right, I need to read my textbook. I need to spend some time making flashcards.
Right.
So that would
But also
definitely...
for me, to know, maybe they want more
Sure.
videos, maybe
Right,
they
right.
want more worksheet. I don't know.
Right. No, that would
Okay.
be focused enough, especially if you bring it up in the beginning, like what kind of grade do you want to get? And that's good. Yeah.
And when would you recommend doing this? Like, do you kind of do this mid-semester, or does it just depend? You can do it whenever?
There's certain times that, especially when you are maybe a new unit, you're introducing a new unit, you're concluding a unit, or you're at a break kind of in the middle, or there's like an exam coming up, or there's like some kind of project that in a couple weeks you want to get them ready and get them thinking about it. But you want to do it in enough time where you can actually have impact, where you can make some changes. So you wouldn't want to wait, so if you got an exam it's Monday and you have an exam on Friday, you probably wouldn't want to do it then. You probably want to give yourself and them enough time, at least 3 weeks, to change some behavior or something like that, where they would then be able to go, okay, I recognize that I'm watching too much Netflix. I recognize that I'm not reading my book. And so now, once they do that, then they can make some changes. I'm reading this really cool book. It's called When by Daniel Pinkerton. And so it's the science of time on people. And one of the things because this book is talking about like beginnings and endings, people like to start good behavior on Mondays. So it may be a good time to do something like this on a Monday, because then they're like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm getting ready for some upcoming deadlines. Monday would be a good time, according to some science that says we like to have new beginnings on Mondays. And so you might want to think about that too.
In Canvas, that's when I start my weeks. Like I start Monday and end on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Instead of starting on Sunday.
Yeah.
'Cause that's like tomato.
Yeah.
I do it on Monday. Because I'm the same way, Monday.
Yeah.
That's when the start of the week should be.
Yeah.
I start mine on Monday and it ends Sunday, and then I open the next week Friday, so they think that they've gotten all this extra time. It's like,
And they don't do it probably.
oh, they do.
Oh,
They
they
jump in.
do?
It's like, it's so exciting. I've got this stolen time.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. But those are just two quick ways that during this semester, depending on what's going on in your classes or how you're introducing students things, you can get some quick feedback about that group. You don't have to wait till the end of the semester. You don't have to wait till they're complaining, You know, watch the calendar and of your timing of when your class is occurring, and watch for those midpoints of when there are lulls and people are getting a little bit antsy and anxious, and you know, and have conversations with students a couple weeks before they need to drop. And that might be a good time to do a plus delta when, you know, a few weeks before they think they might need to drop your class, and have conversations about, you all are, you know, here's the state of how you're doing, and you know, I want you to stay in the class and I want you to make some adjustments, but it really helps, and this is one of my favorite, this plus delta, because it puts some of the acknowledgement of how things are going in class back on the student as well.
Yeah.